Okay, so let's add some fills in between these little areas of the chords here. What I'm thinking is we're going to use a track stack, and we'll probably have a combination of synths and samples in there. So let's create a new track. The quick way to do it is if you have an instrument track selected, like I do here, you just double click and it'll create another instrument track underneath it, which is quite handy. So let's load up. First of all, we'll do an ES1, and sounds like that right now. I kind of want to have just like this wide open, fat sounding saw thing. Just chuck on the either the chorus. And maybe turn up the volume a wee bit. No release. And a wee bit of glide. And to get the glide going, of course, you got to put on legato. And what else do we need? Resonance. Doesn't make a whole lot of difference at the top end of the filter. And we're not going to play much with that. What else do we want to do here? We'll crank up the analog so it gets a little wonky. And that's probably all I want to do for this one, except for some external effects. Yep, that's it. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. Okay, so now we'll add, what could we try? We could try a little clipping distortion, see if that does any favors to us. Right away, not so much. The tree, mix that in like that. Drive it up a bit. Actually, it might be nice to have a little bit of that high end chopped off. Like that. All right, we'll leave it like that. And then maybe something to make it a bit more modulated, like a chorus or a flanger or something. Could try, or maybe the microphaser. Nah. Maybe the scanner vibrato. So we just try the different types. All right, we'll leave it like that. Adds a bit of motion to it. All right, so we'll call this one Saw. And then what I'm going to do is I will just double click again. Right there. And I'm going to make a new instrument. And for this one, I might use a sampler, the EXS. But before I do that, I'm going to select these, shift select them both, and I'm going to create the track stack, the summing stack. And then I'm going to name it the fill stack. Okay, so just like the other one, it's created this bus 2 and routed these two tracks to it. So let's load up ESX24. And then we're going to click the edit button so we can just drag and drop in a sample. I'm going to go up to the library here, all files. Oop. There we go. Get my project folder where I've got the generic awesome CD. We have synths or bass shots that are our tonal things. We could always use some percussion or toms, I guess, but just stick with some synths. So let's spin the wheel and see what we get. We can click the preview button here. Yeah, sure. Why not? So thankfully, these already have the keys in the file names, so we know it's an F. So we can change the root key to be F. And now, whenever I play an F, it actually is going to be an F. So you can hear that. That was an F playing just by itself. And when I play the sampler, I press an F. Same tone. Okay, so make sure your root key is always set properly if you're playing pitched tones. So yeah, we'll save that. Yes, Complextro hit 1. I had made those earlier, and another project. We'll just overwrite it. And now we have Complextro hit 1 in there. And then let's distort this one a little bit too. Just use a new distortion. We'll use this distortion here. And we'll probably need a limiter because it's going a bit bananas. So we'll stick on the limiter. There we go. So I can keep it nice and short. And we'll name this. What does it sound like? Like a double plonk. Double plonk. There we go. All right. So let's create. What do we want to do? Should we use another synth? Yeah, why not? Let's do. Let's use one of the other little mono synths that Logic comes with. So you can see I created a new track here, but it is not inside my summing stack. So it's just as simple as going like this, bonk, and dropping it in there. And it's now added it to stack and set it to output on bus 2 for me automatically. It's quite handy, that. I don't know what I'm going to call it because I don't know what it's going to be yet. So let's go ESM. This is that acid one. We might as well, oh, there we go. Can everybody see that? Let's shrink you down to 100. Now, by default, this thing's in mono, so let's add a bit of stereo-ness to it. So one way you can do that is by using the good old Haas effect, which is where you have your 2 channels and you delay one of them by under 30 milliseconds, and then our poor brains can't figure out that it's actually a delay and it sounds really wide. So let's do that with the sample delay. I'm going to take the mono to stereo one. So our channel was in mono, and now, because I've got this mono to stereo effect, it's in glorious stereo. So simply just delaying these by samples. Remember, this is samples, not milliseconds. So depending on your sample rate that you work with, it'll be different milliseconds. But you can hear right away. Right, so there we're in delay territory. And then there you start losing the delay. However, I find that's a bit too wide, so the way you get around that, and no, I'm going to take directional mixer. And directional mixer has this, which allows you to shrink it back down. So we've gone from mono to insanely wide to nicely wide. And it sounds like this. So there we're back to mono. And that's what it was to start with after the sample delay. I'll just put it down to about there. That sounds decent to me. Remember, I'm in headphones, so all this stereo playing is going to sound totally different than it will on a set of speakers. So I'm just assuming that is going to sound good on speakers. Never mix in headphones. My tip of the day. You can mix in headphones, but do your final mix on speakers. Right. So now we have this. Sounds a little too much like the other one. It's too bad we can't get the LFO on there right away. All right, that's nice. We'll leave it there. Of course, it's super loud. So let's just throw a limiter on it. Actually, not even a limiter. We'll just clip it. That's how crazy things are getting, and that's not what I want. What I want is the bit crusher, because that lets me just literally clip it. So you see, without the bit crusher, so I'm literally just taking the top of the entire signal off, leaving the rest of it at 24 bits, so it's not doing any degradation otherwise. Just clipping it. So we're going to call this acid hit. Okay, so now the neat thing with the fill stack is that I'm playing all of them at the same time, because it's taking the MIDI from this one and feeding it to all three of them. And I don't really want, well, no, sorry, I do want an EQ on there. Except, again, because the EQ was put in there auto-magically by Logic, it doesn't have my settings, so I'll just go like this, stick on my channel EQ, and then I'm going to stick on, do we want a compressor? No, we don't really need a compressor. What I want is to clip it again. I'm going to put that after the EQ. You see what was happening? If I put it before the EQ, I'm still getting this crazy signal, because obviously trimming off these bits causes, I'm just looking at the gain here to see if I had the gain up, but no, that's purely caused by cutting those frequencies out. So if I put it after the EQ, we have all this headroom now. We've clipped the heck out of it, of course, but we're not going for sonic purity right now. We're just going for some gritty, dirty fill sounds. And all right, so now I'm just going to solo. Now I'll mute all the drums and everything. We'll just play the chord. Now, press T. And I'm just going to do it per instrument. So I'm not going to play everything at once. And we'll just see how this goes. So I've got my saw here, and the chords play for till right here. Okay, so then I've got this one section here where I have 4 16th notes available. Now I'm thinking that if I fill up all 16th notes, it's going to sound a little bit busy. Like if I was to put, shrink that down and drag that out. Whoops. Undo that. Okay, drag that out. I hold down Option, and it copies the note. And again. And shrink these down just a smidge. Well, that might actually work out all right. For the first one, we're going to have to make some variations, so why not just start with this one? I'll double do T to get my cursor back. Double do is the technical term for double tap. And so what I'm going to do is I'll have the saw play the first one, acid hit play the second one, and the third one maybe, and then we'll have the very bottom one just play the last note. We'll see if that sounds terrific or horrible. It's bordering on horrible. It's not terrific. What if we get the bass in there? Now, I have an idea for the bass, so let's copy that over there so we've got it for later. What if we just have a big long note there for when the chords are playing? Yeah, I noticed when I did that, the bass had that nice glide on it. So let's just drag that note out a bit. Maybe even earlier, maybe at the start. And then maybe one down again. I'll start that one there, and I'll have that one drag out a little bit. All right, not sold on that, but I do like the one big note. So let's put that back. Put the one big note in there. All right, so now with the drums, that's a kick. That's the kick. Probably want to delete that kick.